Welcome back to Daytime.
Yeah.
The Real Canada Film Festival's goal is to build future audiences for Canadian film, and by doing this, they travel to different city high schools, so they can be staged. So almost like 100 films have staged about 35 films. They also supported by who's who of Canadian film, and joining us today is the executive director, Jack Blum.
Hi there.
Hey, Jack.
I mentioned earlier, I think it's one of the most important film festivals that's happening because we're teaching high school kids to appreciate Canadian film,
exactly right.
Which is awesome. I just spent the weekend at the Canadian Film Festival, which was all about Canadian film.
Yeah.
And people just don't get it yet. They're just not going to Canadian films yet. There's still that stereotype of Canadian film. And I think if you get them young...
Yeah, exactly. And it's not only that there's a stereotype. The fact of the matter is it's very hard to get to them because it's hard for Canadian films to get the screen time that American films
And
get.
the question always arises is why?
Well, because the U.S. or Hollywood, if you will, spends... The amount that they spend to promote one feature film could be $40 million, is almost as much as the budgets of all the Canadian films that we make. We just don't have that kind of size of market. Hollywood films dominate the whole world, right? So what people really don't understand is that every other country in the world also has this problem. In South America and in Europe, they're also very worried about the fact that they are overwhelmed by American films.
Okay,
but
so that's good. That's a big.
But we live. No, it is. It's important to keep that in mind. But we are right next door, so they really wash over.
Right.
Okay, so it's just hard to compete with that kind of muscle.
I think that American films, because of the blockbusters they're putting out, are almost doing themselves more damage because more people I talk to are getting so tired of seeing these big blockbuster Mission Impossible, I don't want to name any other name, films, which I don't want to see the same person in the same role all the time. I'd rather go see, The Waters and, Adam McGoyan films.
Well, the thing is that Canadian filmmakers in the last little while have gotten so good. We're seeing films like Bon Cop, Bad Cop and Deepa Maida's Water and Sarah Polley's Away From Her, which was just nominated for Oscars.
Talk quickly about the trailer that we're going to see for a great film.
The Rocket, fantastic film out of Montreal, partly in French, partly in English. Really important story about Rocket Richard, and it's one of the films that's very popular with the high school kids that we're showing them to.
Great. Well, we've got a clip ready, I think, don't we?
Yep.
Well, let's take a look at The Rocket.
People are saying you're a waste of money.
He signed a lemon.
Test him.
But his fight to succeed,
That's what I want.
made him a hero.
You're the Babe Ruth of hockey.
This is the extraordinary true story
Change 15 for the number 9.
of the man they called the Rocket.
You are the most exciting player I have ever seen.
44 goals in one season. What's a record like that mean to you?
It is good.
He led a team to greatness. Inspired a generation.
It's not up to you.
So
You
cool.
just came back from a little tour of some cities around Ontario, right?
Yeah, this is our third season, and for the first time we've gotten outside of Toronto. So we went to Windsor, we went to Kingston, we went to Ottawa. So we're very proud that now we can say really we're an Ontario festival, and our goal obviously is we'd love this to be a national program, and we feel that's possible, but we need the financial resources.
How hard is it to get into the schools? Are they open to bringing films in?
When we started, it was on the basis of personal relationships with teachers, but once we did it once and the word started to get around about this thing, the teachers were so positive. I'll just tell you something from last year. We get feedback on paper from teachers, and the percentage of teachers that said that they would recommend the festival to other schools or that they would want it to come back was 100%. Okay, so every single teacher that participated said, "This is great, please come back."
Right.
Okay, so set it up. So when you go into a high school, what takes place?
It's very elaborate. What makes this different is that it's a film festival, but the kids program it. Okay, so we have this catalog that has 40 great Canadian films, and the kids go through it. They pick a short list of maybe 6 or 8 that they are interested in, and then they all get all the students in the high school get that book, and also they can go on the website realcanada.com. They can see clips and trailers, and then they order tickets just like a real festival. So when they're sitting in these films, we're not saying, "Here, watch this; it's good for you." It's always films that they're interested in, that they want to see. And that's one of the key factors of the success. It's very, very participatory.
Does it happen after school?
No,
or?
it's a school day, and in many cases it's the whole school. We'll say, this is Real Canada Day.
So they go to the gym,
we go in,
okay.
we have an auditorium maybe, a gym, a cafetorium, a drama room. We set up, it's a Cineplex. We set up 3 different screening rooms. In the morning, we screen 3 films. They all go to lunch, and they come back and see 3 more films, right? Each kid sees 1 more film, but we're screening 3 at the same time. And after each screening, we'll have maybe Adam McGoyan or Paul Gross or one of the stars of the film. Sonia Smits is coming in, Nicholas Campbell, Deepa Mehta.
We actually have a little clip of Deepa talking to some of the students.
And it's an interesting story because last year Deepa was Water was nominated for an Oscar. And she was in India shooting, and she had to get to LA. And we asked her to come to a school, and she came back to Toronto, postponed her flight to LA for a day to come to a school and see these kids. And the impact she made was fantastic. Like, it's not just seeing a great movie.
This is the clip of the kids' response, I guess, to her film.
They were so excited, and the response to the experience of getting to meet her. And it's, as I say, it's not just about seeing a great film. It's this feeling of, oh, there are people here in Canada.
The students.
Yeah.
See that? I think that's great. The students actually get to meet these filmmakers that they hear and see pictures about.
It becomes very real for them. So
right.
now when they go out, they have a sense, oh, there's another Deepa Mehta movie. We know her. She's ours.
Right.
She's Canadian. Or Adam McGoyan or Paul Gross or any of these great filmmakers, Don McKellar, who have come out and talked to the kids and taken the time to meet them. So even though it's sort of one school at a time, the impact, I think, really broadens out because kids talk to each other and they all constantly, and they email and all of this kind of thing. So we think it has an impact far greater than just each school that we actually
Jack,
visit.
when you first go into the schools, what's the kids' perception of Canadian film?
You know, in many cases, their perception of Canadian film is nothing because they don't even know that Canadian film exists. They even see some Canadian television shows and they don't know that they're Canadian because we ask them these questions. How many of you have seen a Canadian film? And it's like one film nerd in the back who says, yes, you know. But then it turns out that they watch Corner Gas or they watch Trailer Park Boys or something and they don't know. And we say, well, that's Canadian. They go, no way. Because to them, if it's on television or on a movie screen, it's American. So what my partner Sharon Corder, I am, but I've stopped. I'm buzzing all the time. My partner Sharon Corder is the programming director, and really she is the one who imagined all this. And what she says is this: if you got up every morning and you looked in the mirror and you saw somebody else's face, that would be pretty weird. And she feels, and I believe as well, that when these kids go to movie theaters weekend after weekend and they see other people, they see Americans, they don't see Canadians. It's like looking in the mirror and seeing someone else's face. And we want to just give them that moment of thinking, oh, there I am. There's my country, there's my city, there's my community.
I saw a film, a documentary actually during Canadian Film Festival called Maple Flavor Films.
Oh yeah.
And it was really an eye-opener because these guys go across Canada asking people in the streets, what was the last Canadian film you saw? And I don't think one person could name a film that was Canadian.
Yeah.
It's really sad because we've got great talent, and I'm surprised and in awe of how many great talented people you have involved in this festival.
The filmmakers are really, really supportive because for them, they've also been told, oh, young people don't like your movies, and we actually prove that they do like the movies. They like them a lot. The response to the films is really positive. So for them, it's a dialogue with an audience that they don't get to connect to, and it actually affects their work. And I'll give you an example. Adam McGoyan, who came to a Real Canada pilot in 2005, and it really affected him. And then the next film he wrote, called Adoration, was about a high school student, and it was sort of not exactly inspired by his experience, but informed by it. And then the next year at Real Canada at Harvard Collegiate, he did a workshop with some of the students that he met there, and some of those students ended up in the film.
Oh, cool.
Adoration, which when we launched the program this past Monday at Harvard, he showed a clip of it to Harvard students with them in the film. So it's like a perfect story about it's not just good for the kids and it's not just good for future audiences. The filmmakers get a lot out of it as well.
Jack, we have like 30 seconds left. What's the next step for schools to do if they
go to the website, realcanada.com, REEL Canada, one word, and there's a form to contact us, and when they do, we'll send them a questionnaire, we'll get information about their school, how many kids, you know, all kinds of things like that, and that's the beginning of the process.
Because we want to get this nationwide, get it really started.
We want to get it nationwide.
Awesome. Well, you're it is.
Yeah, no, it's really,
now,
really
you're
cool.
actually showing films right now in the GTA until April the 25th.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for more information, you can go to the website, which is realcanada.com. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Thanks for
inspiring
giving me a chance to
Canadian
Here's what's
kids.
going on in Toronto.
Wow,
So
that was,
cool.
isn't that great? We're
Yeah.
just like, are so in support of Real Canada. I think it's great.
Well, just even like Bon Cop, Bad Cop is the highest rated Canadian film ever.
Yes.
Just took over Goonies, I think, last year. But another great film from Quebec is called Crazy. And Fido is,
Supposed to be amazing.
yeah. It was a director from the West Coast. So
Yeah.
really, really neat. Great show. It's Friday, the weekend.
Yes.